Sani Bonani Kunjani, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk to my fellow visitors that are coming to South Africa, whether you're moving or you plan on visiting. I've noticed that a lot of people, given, especially in the United States, given the political climate and for other reasons, a lot of people are looking for places to go, to relocate. And I wanted to just point out a few things as you are searching for a place to go, whether it be South Africa, another African country, or somewhere else. As Americans, we somewhat have an elitist attitude. And I want to just reach out to my fellow Americans and say, we have to drop that when we come to visit other countries or move to another country. I've seen videos about where people are talking about what they don't like or what they hate about a country. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say what I have to adjust to because I chose to come here. Anywhere that I hate or anything that I hate or I don't like, I'm not going to stay. So instead of bashing it, I'll just leave. But this is somewhere I chose to be. I knew it was going to be different because I visited a couple of times, so I knew the differences ahead of time. So I did not come here with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to change this or I'm going to tell them they need to do things differently. No. These are sovereign countries and they have their own culture, they have their own practices, and they're going to be different from what we do in the United States. So keeping that in mind, the things that I have had to and am still adjusting to here in South Africa. The concept of personal space does not exist. I've been in several spaces where I had to queue or stand in line for the bank, or I'm checking out at a store or something like that, and people are right up on you. The first couple of times I thought I think I said something. And I was told that this is just, personal space is not a thing here. People will stand right up on you, right next to you. And it takes some adjusting. So sometimes I'll position, if I have a basket, I'll hold the basket behind me so that the person cannot stand right behind me, or I'll stand to the side so they're not standing right on my back. So I just made adjustments because the culture here, there's no personal space. So if you're visiting and you have a problem with personal space, the South Africa may not be for you. But find out about the other countries as well when it comes to personal space. Because I know with Americans, we don't like that crowded. We don't like people standing right up on us. So you just have to adjust and adapt when you come to a different country. Along with personal space, I've noticed that when you're walking in spaces like the mall, people will cut right in front of you. If you're walking with someone, they'll walk right between you. They'll come up behind you, walking right between you. The biggest thing that I've noticed is when people are walking maybe perpendicular to you, and you're walking straight this way, they're coming from this side, they will walk right in front of you. Instead of waiting for you to go by or walking in front of you head, they'll walk right in front of you, or even at a diagonal. I've had people come up from behind me and cut in front of me to go to a store, to a diagonal. So that just took some getting used to. So I'm aware of my surroundings. Even though my peripheral on this side is gone, I'm constantly turning my head to see if there's someone on this side. So as I'm walking through the mall, I'm aware of my surroundings. On the left, someone may come this way. This is the culture of the country, and I can't change that. I wouldn't dare change that, but I can't change that. I just have to adapt. So that's my adaptation of just being, my head is always on swivel. Given my limited peripheral, my head is always on swivel so that I can see where people are coming from and be ready when it happens or if it happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but in case it does, then I'm ready. Driving is very different here in South Africa from America. First off, of course, you know that everything is opposite. I hear people say the wrong side. They drive on the wrong side of the road. They sit on the wrong side of the car. Who said what the right side is? They drive on the opposite side from the United States. We have to watch our words. United States has the most words in our language, so we need to choose the right words so as not to be offensive. They drive on the opposite side of the road. They sit on the opposite side of the car. So it took some getting used to that because I don't drive here. But I've ridden in a taxi before, one time. It was an experience. It was different. But here in the country, taxis rule the road. Taxis run the road. And it is what it is. Be prepared if you want to drive in South Africa. Be prepared to yield to the taxis. If you are riding in an Uber or riding with someone, be prepared for some creative driving by the taxis. You will be shocked. You will be a little nervous. But it's the culture. It's the culture. So if you choose to drive, yield to the taxis. Let them have their right of way. Also, I haven't seen this, but I've heard other creators talk about how you're sitting in a car and sharing the lane with like a bike or a motorcycle. In the States, I've seen where people will drive between cars, but these I'm talking about sitting in the lane with you. It's the culture. It's different, but it's the culture here. So just be aware that will happen. That may happen. In the United States, we have our ride share services include Bolt, not Bolt. I'm about to get to Bolt. They include Lyft and Uber. Uber is also here in South Africa, but they also have Bolt in place of Lyft. I've had some very interesting rides with Bolt drivers. Sometimes you may find a driver, even not even a Bolt driver, but you may see someone driving with the seat belt behind them. The lap belt is behind them. Every time that I've gotten into a Bolt, and that was the case, I was in for a ride, an experience like I was at an amusement park. The driver got me there safe, but the driving was like, ooh, like it was like they owned the road. They probably were former taxi drivers or something like that, because it was some scary driving. Like I said, I don't drive here in South Africa, and I don't really go a lot of places, but so I have not heard of or seen a lot of accidents. But some of the risky driving that I've seen, it's very well coordinated. I see cars coming very close to each other when they're backing out, when they are changing lanes, when they are you pulling into a parking lot or something like that. I've seen a lot of things that in the States would have been a straight up fender bender or an accident. But even though the driving seems to be risky here, I'll say it's well coordinated, because I've not seen I've seen the evidence of an accident on the highway. One time I saw where there had been an accident, but I've never seen one. Well, actually, I take that back, because I've been in one. It was but it was on the highway, and I talked about that in my video when I went to the Zulu Lobola, and we were sideswiped. But other than that, I'm talking about just like day to day, just on a regular road. That was on the highway, but just on a regular road, not really seeing a situation where the driving is just so like it's coordinated. It's choreographed. That's the word I'm looking for. It's choreographed. Where I'm thinking it's going to be a mishap. They just miss each other, and that, like I said, I see that a lot. So just be prepared for that. Greetings. A lot of people try to learn basic greetings when they go to a different country. Learn the dialect as well. as a person that grew up in the southern part of the United States, I know that I can have southern drawl sometimes, especially when I go back home and I'm around my people. I got my drawl comes out, and it's a little disrespectful to come here to South Africa saying Sawubona, Sani Bonani. You have to have the dialect as well. So as I'm learning Zulu this year, I'm trying to learn to enunciate the words correctly. So be respectful. If you're going to try to learn the language, learn to how to speak the language. It's like retraining your tongue, because some words and sounds are formed that we did not grow up with, and we're not used to. So you have to almost retrain your tongue. Sabona, Sanimorani. And I'm still working on those. So, but be respectful of how you greet people, and if you're going to use the language, use it correctly. Try to use it correctly. Plenty of YouTube videos that will show you how. I love the way that South Africans respect elders. And this gray beard has given me so much clout. When South Africans are handing something to or receiving something from someone that they consider to be an elder, there's a sign of respect where they hold their arm when they receive it or when they give it. And I think that is just so unique, because it does not happen in the States. It is the young people do not respect elders like that in the States. Elders maybe 80 and up, they may give some respect to, but here I'm considered an elder, I guess, because of the gray beard. And you have to understand also, in a lot of African countries, life expectancy is shorter than in other countries, so you have to keep that in mind as well. But combining greetings and respecting for elders, learn the correct greeting to use with the correct people. I learned it the hard way. I think I told this story before, but I'm gonna say it again because it goes along with what I was talking about. Where if you're speaking to someone that is older than you, don't use slang. And I'm used to saying "How's it?" When I greet people, just being, because that's just how I am. I'm not a formal person. Now that I'm retired, it's just I'm very relaxed and laid back. So I'll greet and say "How's it?" But 2 times now I have been given the evil eye by someone that I think the lady was older than me, and the guy probably assumed that he was older than me. I got the evil eye, and they didn't even recognize me or acknowledge me because I greeted improperly. So I've learned that sometimes I'll just say hello, just like, hey, yeah, I'm American. But other people, other places, I'll greet, and people that I'm familiar with now, I'll say how's it, because they know they're familiar with me. But other than that, I try to keep it formal. South Africans are a very happy people. They're very proud of their culture. They're very proud of their country, and they celebrate everything. South Africans celebrate everything. I joke around with some of my friends, and I say, when you guys find a missing shoe that was one in the closet and one under the bed, it's a party. It is a party. Friday, end of the week, it's a party. The month of December, it's a party. So I love the way that South Africans are so celebratory. Anything is a celebration, and they love to party. They really love to party. So just understand that if you connect with some South Africans, which I strongly advise, if you're going to visit the country, connect with some people online first. They're very welcoming. They're very proud of their country, and they would love to show it off. And they will learn to love about your country as well. Just keep things respectful. But you're going to be celebrating. You're going to be partying. You're going to be hanging out. Children. I've had some very interesting encounters with children here, and how they are how they are treated by their parents. Not necessarily treated, how parents interact with their children. Let's say that. Um, in the gym, I was in the aerobics room, and there was a white family that came in, mom, dad, and little girl. Little girl was probably about between 5 and 7, probably 4 and 7, something like that. She really wasn't supposed to be in there because of the equipment, but they kept putting her in the aerobics room and giving her equipment to play with. In the States, a white family would not put their child in a separate room like that with a black man. It just would not happen. It just would not happen. It's not even about the white. It's just about people are not going to put their people are not going to put their child in another room with a stranger in the States. But I mean, everything was like glass. So I mean, if I was some type of creep, they would have seen it because they were right outside on the other side of the glass. But the girl wandered out like 3 times, and twice, and they brought her back in there like 3 times, and I just left because I was like, this is cringe to me. Also, I've noticed where a lot of black babies, and I call them babies because one in particular was in diapers and barely walking. They were in the mall with their mom. Mom was walking considerably further ahead of the kid. I'm like, where's the child's mother? And mom eventually looked back. I mean, it was a while before she looked back at her child. And like I said, I have glaucoma and I cannot see out of this side. This is my worst eye. So, and my peripheral down here is also gone. So if a little kid like darts out in front of me, like out of nowhere, I'm not going to see them. So I've almost kicked 2 kids by them just walking out of nowhere. The parents not holding their hand or anything like that. So it's different. It's different. It's the culture here. So it's something that I have to get used to. So when I go to public places like that, I'm always like looking ahead to see, are there any little kids walking with their parents and things like that. Another situation where there were 2 situations dealing with Indian children. One when we went to a flea market, and the child was sitting at the entrance of the flea market. Then this child was like 7, 8 years old, playing on the phone or playing on some device, just sitting on the floor at the entrance of the store, and we couldn't get in. I mean, it's like you have to like step over the kid, and we had to walk around several times until mom saw that we were buying a lot of things. Then she told him to go outside, and he kind of argued back with her. Another situation happened in December when in the mall, and a lot of stores, I think this was New Year's Day, a lot of the stores were closed, and there was one kid that went halfway around the mall with some little toy car, just driving it on the glass of every store that he came across. I'm like, where's the parent? I'm like, we saw him, we went into a store, came back out, he made his way on the other side of the mall, just still doing the same thing. I'm like, where's the parent? What? Something to get used to. It didn't affect me. Doesn't impact my life, but it was just something, a sight that hey, got to get used to it if that's the culture here. This one is a little petty on my part. I know, but it's almost like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. But I do not like to hear the sound of scuffing feet. When people are walking in slides or sandals and they drag their feet, I guess because I'm so used to telling my students to pick their feet up, and even in my culture, it was disrespectful to drag your feet. Southern Black Americans period, it's disrespectful to drag your feet like that. So just to hear the sound of that here, it is the culture. It is something that I I'm still working on. That's a work in progress. I'll talk to the person that I'm with at the time and just say, "Ugh, this is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me," but it's the culture, and especially like in the mall, just that scuffing. It's, but I have to get used to it. I can't tell people to pick up their feet here because this is not my country. When I go back home, yes, I will say it. But here, grin and bear it. There is no sense of urgency here. And I like that. South Africans don't feel the need to rush. They are very peaceful people. They don't rush the way that people do in the States. Everything is like click, urgent, right now, time. Here, everything is laid back. Food is served in a reasonable amount of time. I've had to complain maybe once or twice, but everything else, it'll get done. It's just there's no rushing. People don't step over themselves like they do in the States trying to offer a service or anything like that. So everything's just chill and laid back. I did another video about the difference between now, and now. So I understand those concepts. And just to help me, when someone says they're going to do something or they're going to be somewhere, I will ask, are you doing it just now? Are you doing it just now? Or now? So that I can have in my mind a sense of time. And I add on to that time because more than likely, without a sense of urgency, it's not going to happen in the time frame that they even said. So I'm prepared for that, and I've adapted. So just as a visitor, be prepared for that. Hours of businesses are different. I saw where someone said that South Africans promote spending time with family, which is not done in the States. People will work all day, all night, weekends, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Here, things cut off. I think pharmacies close at like about 5. Grocery stores maybe about 5, 6. I'm not sure. But they close way earlier. If you don't get things done by sundown, you're not going to get it done till the next day, because people are at home with their families, and that is so important. That is beautiful, and that is something that the United States could really learn. The adjacent states could really learn, because as I'm getting older, I'm seeing a lot of people that have not spent time with their families because they're too busy out trying to make money and things like that. So they miss that quality time with families and going home to help with homework the way that I was brought up. My parents came home, they helped with homework, we did things together in the house, had quality time. A lot of times people too busy trying to make ends meet because they're working 2 or 3 jobs in the United States, and they don't get to spend that time with their families. They're bringing kids home from the hospital. Next thing they know, they're going to the graduation. So for that reason, South Africa, they close things down. When it's quitting time, it's quitting time. You just have to do it the next day, and that's beautiful, actually. When you go to a pharmacy here, pharmacies are very knowledgeable. In the States, I'm used to going to a pharmacy or Walgreens or CVS and comparing different reading labels on drugs for headache or for pain or for whatever, cold, sinuses. Here you go to the pharmacist and you tell them your symptoms and they give you something. It's not necessarily prescription strength, but they know the medicines to give you, or they will walk you out to the shelves and show you where the product is. You can ask them for something. They will come from behind the desk and go and help you out. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but it looks like each window has a pharmacist that is getting the drugs together for you with a prescription. I had to get used to paper prescriptions again. Like I said, Walgreens and CVS, you go to a doctor's office, they send the prescription straight to the doctor. You do ask for a refill. Well, the refills are done electronically here also. But I had to go to the doctor. They wrote out an actual script. And I would have to take it to the pharmacy and they would fill the script then. So that was something, getting used to that again. But, they do deliver the drugs too. So sometimes when I have a prescription, I will have it delivered to the house instead of going to pick it up. If you're visiting another country, don't assume, ask. People love to share about their countries. They love to brag on their countries. So don't assume something based on what you've seen or what you've heard, what you've seen online or what you've heard. Ask, because people, like I said, people here love to talk about their country. They love to educate you on their culture, how things are done, how things are said. And it's a beautiful thing. So it's easier to learn. I'd rather learn things from the people instead of learning things from others that have no clue about the country. This goes back to the lies that have been told to Americans about other countries. Americans are finding out some things about China right now. Some lies that were told about China, just like some lies that were told about Africa and the African countries. Until you come and see for yourself, don't believe the hype. And in closing, I just want to remind Americans, I'm going to speak on the Black American aspect because that's what I live. But when you go to someone's house, you have to respect their rules. You have to respect how they run their house. A lot of houses in America, you have to take your shoes off when you go in. You may feel like, oh, why do I have to take my shoes off? My shoes aren't dirty. I wipe my shoes off really good. I don't have on clean socks, or whatever your reason is. If you go to someone's house, you have to follow their rules. Back in the days of my grandparents, they slip covers that covered furniture. Don't sit on that. That's for guests or something like that. Why can't I sit on it? I'm gonna have to sit on this folding chair instead of sitting on this plastic. That's the rules of their house. If you're going to stay with someone in the United States, in America, you have to respect their rules about eating. Some people only eat at the kitchen table or at a table, and you may be used to taking your food to your bedroom, so you cannot take food to the room where you're staying because you have to respect the rules of their house. All of those are examples of the concept that I want visitors to have when they visit another country. Respect the rules of the house. If you don't like the rules, don't go. That country may not be for you. There are some countries that have some rules and some expectations that I'm not going to go and visit. I respect their rules. I don't agree with them, and so I'm not going to go and visit the countries. I'm not going to go there and expect them to change because of me. Again, that's elitist. So learn about the countries that you want to visit. Do extensive research. Don't just watch one YouTube video and think that you know it all, or especially the mainstream media. But anyway, I hope this brought some awareness to you about the South African culture. Many, many, many other things that you can expect that are going to be different. Some things that you have to adapt to if you want to live here. But if visiting, just understand that you are going to a different culture and things are going to be different. Don't come to another country thinking that you're going to get America. If you want America, stay in America. But if you want to have a rich cultural experience in another country, come to that country with an open mind and understand that it's going to be different. All right. Catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Nibonga.